Behind the Shades.
Just a few months later, I became pregnant with my daughter. And when she was born, we were surprised to find out that she had 4 defects in her heart. By the time she was 8 months old, those defects had reached a critical state, and we needed to do open heart surgery. We had to do it in the States. It could not be fixed in our country because of limited technology and capabilities. So we had to go away for surgery. Unfortunately, after the surgery, while she was recovering in the ICU, somebody pulled a tube out and she bled out. And that led to her becoming flatlining for 20 minutes, becoming severely brain injured, and losing all of her senses and her ability to suck and swallow. And so in the blink of an eye, my daughter went from the whole world lies ahead, the world is your oyster kind of thing, we've done surgery and now you're all better, to she was vegetative and there was no hope. That's what we were told. And that was a level of overwhelm I had never experienced or dreamed that I would experience, because it wasn't predicted at all. It was a fluke, but all that I can say is there were choices all along, and the choice was I could have a meltdown and I could never function again, or I could just put one foot in front of another. And most of the people that I've spoken to who have been in similar situations say, you don't have the luxury of melting down when your child is literally in need of you to keep her alive. And so you show up. And what that means is that you push all your needs and all your feelings down, and you suspend anything that you might need to keep you going, because your job is to keep this child going. And my son was 5 years old. He turned 5 that month, actually, the month after. So I had a 5-year-old that I was pretending to still be happy mommy with, and still singing and playing and taking him downstairs and running and pretending that life was the same as the day before. While I had a child that had lost all of her senses, and they told me, withhold food and let her go. So that's a really crazy place to be, where I'm living 2 realities, one pretend reality just for my son to not have the fallout, and one where I think I am just saying, you know what, I don't want to listen to you say that I should put my child in a home or let my child go. And there's no hope for her. So I was fighting that and saying, no, maybe this is statistically what you think, but I refuse to believe this. And I'm going to hold hope really, really strong, and I'm going to hold on to faith. So when she was flatlined and we had nothing else holding us up, my husband and I just held hands and we prayed. Because when you're most broken, what else can you do? And it was in that 1-minute prayer that her heart restarted. The minute I said, could I get back my child? God, give me back my child. The heart started back after 20 minutes. To me, that's a big miracle. What the doctor's hands on her heart could not do, God did after I just said, please give her back to us. But she didn't come back the way we had expected. The day before the surgery, she had stood for the first time at age 8 months. She came back to us unable to lift her neck, totally losing all strength and all ability, unable to make a sound. We would see her mouth open and she's screaming and tears are streaming down, but you hear no words, you hear no sounds at all. It's like being in the worst horror movie, because you want to hear your child cry, and you're surrounded by other ICUs where children are crying and your child can't cry. And I remember thinking, I would have felt it was torture to not to hear my child cry. And now I'm longing for her to cry, because that would have been that she can express herself and say, Mom, I'm uncomfortable. Mom, I'm in pain. And we didn't have that. It took us about 4 or 5 years before she was able to move her index finger 1 millimeter. And that was a miracle, because we were told she'd never move. She was arms outstretched, feet all the way down, soles of feet when she's lying on the mattress. And she's just this little log in a bed. And they said, that's all she'll ever be able to do. Today, she's still bedridden. In March, the 16th of March, she's going to be 11. She has the most beautiful laugh. Her voice came back. She's non-verbal, but she actually makes about 3 or 4 words that we recognize. Dada being her favorite. Dada is her boy. She prefers him above mommy and above everything else. And that makes me extremely happy, because my child can prefer things. She can choose. She says alala, which means I love you. And when we leave her alone too long, like you go to wash some dishes and you're not in her room with her, she goes, hello. So I think that's amazing, because if you can see one shift, then I think the world of possibilities lies ahead. It may be slow, but it's not impossible. She has maybe a dozen playlists. She listens to every kind of music that I can think of, from nursery rhymes to, we sing, since she's been 5, we've been singing Happy Birthday to You almost every week. We sing Deck the Halls, Christmas music, Nat King Cole, all through the year. Her favorite song is All of Me from John Legend. So she has a million playlists, because her hearing is really acute. Her ability to understand or receive language is great. She just can't output, and I say yet. And recently she's started to track red and yellow when we pass it in front of her, although she's diagnosed as blind. We read up and we said, we don't think so. We actually think it's something called cortical visual impairment, which isn't diagnosed in our country. So we started to do stuff at home. And then one day she started to track. So slowly, she's coming back, and I don't know how far she'll go. But if hope dies with us, then hope dies for her. And so our job is to always show up.